Sorry about that. Oh, oh, whew. All right, it's Gary Patrick week here on the Boston Chris podcast. Oh, these freaking lights. We're so excited to have Gary Patrick here on the show for the very first time ever. My new friend, and guys, I got to tell you, I've interviewed people from Australia and France and all over the world, and yet we have this phenomenal songwriter, literally a fishing rod's cast away from me. I think the way Gary put it is I could shoot a gun and the bullet would land in his front yard. And that's allowed here in Texas. But we won't talk about that. So Gary is going to be my guest here on the show, and I really hope if you are new here that I can earn your subscription or follow with this episode. So if you like what you're seeing or hearing from the remarkable Gary Patrick, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the follow button, and comment down below your favorite part of this episode. Gary Patrick has a long story in music. He's played with the Wilson sisters. You know the Wilson sisters. You know Brian Wilson's daughters. You know Brian Wilson from the Beach Boys. You know Wilson Phillips for those folks that are in my age bracket. Yeah, those Wilson sisters. And he tells some remarkable lessons that he learned while on tour with those sisters. And you might not guess that they're not music related. That's right. We learn life and business lessons when we're really listening. We find out that Gary's an empath. You know how we found out? Squirrels and hurricanes. Yeah, that's how we did it. That's why we asked the questions, the hard-hitting questions. And without any further ado, we're going to talk to Gary Patrick right now, right here on the Boston Chris Show. Y'all check it out.
It's time to jam. It's time to mingle. It's time to see what everyone's drinking. It's time to jam. It's time to mingle. It's time to see what everyone's drinking. Until we all lose connection.
Hey, y'all, this is Haley Wright, and I want to say thank you so much for tuning in to the Boston Chris Show.
Guys, it's Gary Patrick week here on the Boston Chris podcast. And, man, Gary and I have just been chatting because it's kind of crazy. I've been a fan of Gary's for a long time. He's a great songwriter and a musician here in the East Texas area in the 903. We literally, I got to tell you guys, this is probably the closest geographic interview I've had other than in person. This guy lives literal like 2.5 miles from where I am right now.
Yeah.
So, and
We're
which is
deep
funny.
within the pine curtain.
Yeah, which is funny because I had probably my furthest away the other day in Australia. She was from Australia. And I had one from France, and now I have Gary, who's literally in my back pocket. It's so cool. It's so cool being able to do this. And, yeah, I've been a fan of yours for a long time, man. You put out such good music here in the area, and
Thank you.
I started reading about your backstory, and just your path is just so interesting, and I'm excited to tell your story today. First thing I'd like to do is maybe talk about the new single first. It's called Closed for Repair. Tell us about this song a little bit, Gary.
And you know what? Close for Repair. Thank you, by the way.
Sure.
Close for Repair is it's kind of it's a story about when you need to back up and punt. You know, when maybe there's a lyric in there. I tried to love you into loving me back. Why'd you hurt me like that? It's when you realize the codependent part of the relationship isn't working anymore, and it's time to regroup. You know, and yeah, I think that's how the song turned about. You know, there as a writer, I try to be super objective when I write. You know, when we're young writers, we write really about our personal experiences only, right? Because that's what we have to pull from. You know, so in every one of my songs, there's a personal thing, but I really try to be objective in the message, so to speak.
You're trying to get out of your own story as much as possible nowadays.
Yeah.
That's what's up, man. We'll have to talk about that. That's an interesting technique. But yeah, Close for Repair, it's the current single. You guys really should be spinning that out there as much as possible. Stream it, buy it, do all of the stuff. It's a great song. You talk about a punting in it. I would use a different football terminology. I would call it more of an audible, right? Like you're kind of changing the plays because the play isn't working for you. So now you have to kind of adjust to the situation in front of you. And any of us that have had relationships that we treasured where the other person didn't treasure it quite as much as us has gone through that situation, right?
Right. And it's also a testimony as we get older. You watch your expectation on how you have expectation on others in life, and that's the graceful part about getting older. Is I love it, I've always led with my heart first. I came from a family that did that, from leading with emotion first, and I've had to learn to lead with my head, and that is also another testament to songwriting.
I think it's okay to kind of let that happen kind of independently based on where the song wants to go with it too, right? Like,
yes,
if it wants your heart, then it'll get your heart. If it wants your head, then it should get your head. You shouldn't fight that, right? But
that's right. That's right.
Let's talk a little bit about kind of your Genesis story. Did you grow up in California, Gary? Is that what I'm reading, or correct me if
No,
I'm
I
wrong?
grew up right here in East Texas. When I was born in Tyler, and at the time we lived in Jacksonville. My mother's side of the family, her whole clan was from Jacksonville, and I would say in 1976 we moved to Tyler. My three siblings graduated from Robert E. Lee. I was in elementary school at the time, and when the loop got bigger than 2 lanes, Mom and Dad moved us to the farm in Wood County. We had a family farm here outside of where you and I live in Golden, and so I went to Alba Golden School from the mid 5th grade, graduated.
Wow.
I met the guy that introduced me to electric guitar in my first band, Les Clanton, who's sadly no longer with us. I met him in school, and I can tell you that I am truly I'm that guy that would drive to school every morning with a different cassette playing. And I would meet my friend Les out front of the school and go, "Man, did you listen to that guitar solo in that Journey song?" And we got that, man. I got the best of the best as far as a dreamer goes. I'm sorry to detour.
That's what podcast is for, man. You take it where you want to take it, Gary, okay?
You probably read that I graduated from school in 89.
Yeah.
And then I moved to Southern California. Why? Because there was a massive recession in the United States in the late 80s. My father was a contractor, general contractor, and it really hit his profession hard. And so Mom and Dad knew that I wanted to be a musician. They just didn't know how to help me. We were kind of in a bubble here in East Texas, although there's a lot of great musicians here. Dad took a job in Orange County, California, of all places. And we went there. At the time I was going to go into the military. I wanted to fly jets, but I got a football injury and the military wouldn't take me.
Wow.
So I thought, okay, well, I could have a civilian career in aeronautical engineering. I'm fascinated with that. But it just wasn't in my heart. So there I was going to community college in California. My dad walks me around the block and says, "Kid, I know you're not happy. You're making grades, but," he goes, "if you want to be a musician, do it now, because you can't start that career at 40.
Man, what an incredible moment, man, because I imagine as a young person in living that moment, being in that experience, you probably really didn't understand the gravity of it like you would now. But like as kind of, middle-aged folks now, we can look back, and parents ourselves now too, right? We can look back and see the incredible support that was from your dad, because the people that came before us probably didn't look at music as a blue-collar way of making money or earning a living, right?
Oh no, that's it's a struggle
Yeah,
at best. At best, it's a struggle when it's good.
yeah,
Um, I'm exactly the age my father. Exactly the age now that my father was then when he had that conversation with me, and having their blessing. You know, I have a very close relationship with my parents, uncommonly close, um, and having that blessing, they said we would help support you in any way we can. And so just having their blessing, was great. So immediately I started. I met great friends in Southern California. I started playing music for a living before I was 21. Um, it was a great nurturing environment to learn not only to be a writer, but to practice the craft of singing, playing guitar, learning how to deal with people, learning how to manage your money. Because musicians, we don't make a lot. You
yeah.
know, oh
One thing I love about your story, Gary, we're talking a little bit about your dad and kind of, thinking outside the box and understanding you weren't happy and how huge that was on your story. But your parents and your family in general, your siblings even, they all had such a huge impact in shaping your love for music, didn't they?
oh man, yeah. I now get it. I'm an empath. I
Yeah,
absorb. I absorb everything around me. Now I can understand. I can see why I was drawn to so many chapters in my life because so many people affect me. And so, yeah, every sibling had a profound effect in their own way. Each parent was different, but they had a profound effect. And so, I have a sense of I, loyalty to those around you and love you. That's really important to me.
yeah. Just reading your story, like I just let people know out there, your mom was a singer. You loved her voice and kind of gave you the love of classic music and hymns and stuff like that. Your dad was more into like outlaw country and stuff, so you're soaking that up.
Yeah,
Your siblings are showing you kind of classic rock, like Fogelberg and Boston, Dire Straits, music like that. And
yeah,
all of that is kind of an amalgamation of who Gary Patrick is now today, isn't it?
absolutely. Yeah, yeah.
So
That's it.
as a now, Gary Patrick now, you look back at that and kind of see those ingredients that make up the recipe who you are now. Like how do you feel about that? Like just the way that all that translated for you.
I I can't disagree. Yeah, in life that you are how you are, and I love that. I love that there's an essence of all of those artists and people that have had an impression on me, and it comes out in my music.
Sure.
If there's one thing I've learned, don't chase a genre of music
No.
to try to fit into a geographical area you live in. Don't do that because that will be the most disingenuous thing you do to yourself as an artist.
Yeah.
Just be you,
Hmm.
and find your audience one person at a time, and be grateful for that. Nurture that person, and make that relationship.
Yeah.
You know,
Pay attention to the people who are listening and not the ones who aren't.
yeah.
Hmm.
That's it. Hey man, that in itself right there, that we tell ourselves that, and then we wake up at 3 in the morning and go to the bathroom and we go, what about those other people? They're
Yeah.
not liking me. I don't nobody likes me.
Yeah, it's
You
crazy.
know?
That imposter syndrome will beat you up, and we all have it in some degree or another. Man, it's tough.
Yeah.
So we recently spoke to Terry Hendricks, who is just an incredible songwriter. I'm sure you're familiar with her work. She's amazing.
Absolutely.
And she has the same story as you, having stolen a sibling's guitar. That's how both of y'all got started playing guitar.
Terry Hendricks did the same thing.
Same thing. She stole her sister's guitar. You stole one of your siblings' guitars as well.
Yeah.
So the
Yeah.
Genesis story is very similar. What's that look like for a young Gary Patrick? Like just the temptation to pick up the guitar.
Well, I mean, my brother Ronnie was, like my father was like a superhero to me, and I wanted to be just like him.
Yeah.
At the time when I could form memories and form an opinion of things, I must have been 3,
Sure.
4.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But he was cool, and he was playing. Let's see, he was playing the Boxer, by Simon and Garfunkel on the acoustic guitar, and I went, that was not only difficult because it requires, fingerstyle playing, but it was beautiful. And he masterfully did it. So my hands were too small to fit around the neck. I had to put my hands on top to form the chord, and he just laughed his butt off. I just took to it. So, after a while, he got into girls in high school. I shanghaied that guitar. And I guess, I started taking lessons maybe at 8 years old to one of probably the biggest mentors of my life, Tom Russell. Tom Russell is in his early 80s. He lives in Gresham.
Okay.
And he taught at Monk Music for years and years. Beautiful human being, just beautiful teacher.
We'll talk a little bit more about him in a minute. I have a segment for Tom in a little while.
Okay, go ahead.
So we'll wait on that. So I feel like there's multiple steps to becoming who artists and songwriters become. There's that picking up of an instrument. Sometimes it's vocally based first, right? And for a lot of people, it is vocal, and then they'll try to find a guitar or a piano to accompany themselves. For you, it was instrumental first. But at some point, I feel like you have a crossroads where you either decide to be a musician only, or do you want to be a songwriter too? That crossroads happens for all of y'all, and you chose to be a songwriter. What was the inspiration behind that choice?
Well, I mean, I'd always loved the way songs affected me lyrically. You know what I mean? I knew from an early age that maybe I didn't understand the message when I was a child.
Yeah.
But the words had a profound effect on me. When the first time I heard Neil Diamond play me, that song is so beautiful, and it's a beautiful message of two people finding each other, and he feels like she truly saved him on his thorny path, so to speak. That song mesmerized me, and from that moment, I wanted to sing. That song is so special that my wife and I had our first dance to that.
So it was lyrical for you. You're really losing yourself in the lyrics of these songs. You mentioned The Boxer. That's another incredibly powerful lyrical message too. And
absolutely,
a lot of the people that you're being influenced by from that era are very lyrical as well. Talking about the Eagles and people like that, like very lyrical music, like To Lose Yourself. Was it that way originally for you as you're starting to set out on your own writing path? Is it based in lyrics at first?
Well, I think the two became one. I mean, the guitar was the mesmerizing factor for me.
Sure.
Right. My brother handed me, it's kind of funny. I started taking guitar lessons from his teacher. Tom Russell was my brother's teacher.
Okay.
And now my brother, who is, my family's full of this perfectionist. My brother's a master craftsman. He can pour concrete or build, and in the same week build the most beautiful furniture. Right. So everything he did, it was perfect. He wanted to do, and so I got that. I wanted a sense of excellence. I wanted to be great at what I did. I didn't care about being famous. When I entered in music, that was nowhere near the realm of my brain. I don't even know what that looks like. I wanted to be a master of my craft, because that's what drove me, is to be the best I could be at something, and to affect somebody else the way that music affects me. So my brother hands me the guitar and he goes, "Okay, on your first lesson, I want you to hand the teacher this." And it was a note that said, "Okay, for my first lesson, teach me Classical Gas by Mason Williams." Do you know the song?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, my brother was always setting me up for a joke, but when he always, and I didn't know how to process it as a kid.
Yeah.
He goes, "Okay, kid, so you want to learn to play guitar?" He hands me Dire Straits and he goes, "Okay, that song Sultans of Swing, you have to play it perfect." And I go, oh, okay. And then a week later, he said, do you want to sing yet? Now, this is true. I'm not making this up. I go, yeah, I want to sing, Ronnie. And he says, okay. And he hands me Boston. And he says, okay, now you have to sing like Brad Delp.
God.
So is it any wonder why I probably should be in therapy right now? Because we're talking, I've been trying to attain my whole life.
Oh man, I love that this is your background, being a perfectionist. Man, I could not have known that without talking to you. So
Yeah.
so this just I need to unpack some stuff here, because I find it very interesting as a fan of yours, as a listener, that your songwriting is not what I would call structurally perfect in any sense of the word. There's a lot of artistry in your songwriting. So if you're coming from a place of perfection, how do you turn that off as a songwriter? Because it would seem to me that it would bother you to not be structurally perfect in a song.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, especially
Yeah.
my first two albums that I recorded, man, I was a mediocre at best writer. Like I was trying to really find myself. I knew that when I was starting to put a group of songs together for a session, right? Like I say, I'm just trying to figure it out. I knew that my favorite writers were like Gordon Lightfoot,
Yeah.
like that to me, in the innocence of the lyrics of Mark Knopfler. There's a sense of innocence when he sings a song about meeting a girl at the carnival, and he sneaks a kiss, and she puts a locket in his pocket, and like I still think that there's that innocence in the world, and there's not.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, when I started, I didn't know that there was a genre that I fit in at all. I mean, I'm like, back then it was like there was MySpace, and you're either rock, country, blues. I'm like, I don't fit in any of those.
Nope. That's the beautiful thing about the 21st century now, is not fitting, right? And
yeah,
the business allows for that now, right? It allows for you to not have to fit anywhere. Maybe the award shows don't, right? Somebody has to categorize everybody for the awards, but from a listener standpoint, if it's good, it's good. If it's bad, it's bad. And I mean, that's just the way it is. But
thank God for the genre Americana.
Right? Yeah. The musical collect-all, right?
That's the catch-all can.
Yeah. American music, essentially. It can be anything. Just welcome to the right genre for you. So you're talking about kind of being in California and stuff. So how does music become more serious for you out there? I do know that you played and sang with the Wilson sisters and stuff like that. Is there kind of a series of things that happens to you? Probably starting with that moment with your dad that kind of tells you this is what you want to do and you should pursue it more.
Yeah, it was sink or swim.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
It
was go all in, and I learned quick. Number one, it helped that I didn't I had a pretty good sense of business in me, so there was some responsibility in a whole arena where responsibility doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So like I was always the band leader, managing. Also, I'm the guy herding cats. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That you have to understand, man. That in itself is an education you can't pay for. When you take a role like that, in a creative arena. We can talk about this later because I know you're going to ask me about Las Vegas. But California, I met the most creative people of my life there. And they were all just as eager as me to be excellent at their craft. They didn't know how to get from A to Z. They just wanted to get there. Just like me. We didn't know how we were going to get there. We were just going to get there. You mentioned, I was playing, in several cover bands. That's because that's how I still do it.
Yeah, of course.
Because I love it.
Mm-hmm.
I love entertaining people. And I love working on my craft. So I was playing the drummer at the time. He was hired by Gail Zappa, Frank Zappa's wife, to archive all of Frank Zappa's old 2-inch tape. So This drummer was a used by widely used by Cliff Magnus. Cliff Magnus, have you ever heard of him?
I haven't.
He produced he produced Avril Lavigne.
Okay.
He produced Alanis Morissette. He did a lot of the '90s rocker stuff.
Gotcha.
You know,
Yeah.
he was a Quincy Jones associate writer, so he was right in there co-writing a ton of hits. Like, and I think he's from Lubbock too. You should look Cliff Magnus, one F.
All right.
He's fascinating man. So Cliff had just produced the Wilsons' new album. They had just finished their thing with Wilson Phillips,
Yeah.
and they were just going to record an album, the Wilson Sisters, right? And so Joe Travers is a drummer. He's at a gig, and he's like, "Hey Gary, I recommended you for something. You're going to get a phone call." And lo and behold, the phone rings, and this guy says, "Hey Gary, it's Cliff Magnus." And I go, "Okay,
Wow.
Joe, stop it."
Wow.
He's like, "No, Joe told me to call you. It's Cliff." He said, "Hey, listen, I'm here with the Wilson Sisters at my studio. We need a background singer to sing their dad's parts that he recorded on their album, and to do some radio tours
Wow.
and TV." He said, "Would you be interested in come up for an interview?" Yeah. So I drove up to Santa Monica. I'm in disbelief, right? Because I'm like, this stuff doesn't happen to me, not me.
Right.
They're just people too, man. They're like you and I. And we sit in a room, and it worked. And next thing you know, I'm flying around, the country back when terrestrial radio allowed for certain things,
Mm-hmm.
And I was doing morning spots with the freaking Wilson Sisters, man. And that, I'm getting to something. It might sound like I'm slowing down.
No, you're fine.
It was, that chapter might have lasted a few months, right? But the lessons were enormous. So we did the Rosie O'Donnell show and a few, family shows in Los Angeles and a bunch of, radio things. And the Wilson Sisters were sweet. God, they were sweet. We went to the movies. We hung out together. And working with Cliff Magnus, this is what I want to tell you. Like, if there's a lesson, you haven't asked me this, I'm just going to say it.
Go ahead.
I'm an older guy. I'm 54. If you're a young buck out there and you get the opportunity to work with somebody, quell your notion to push and make relationships. This business is about relationships. It's not about your agenda. Okay. So at the time when I was recording with them, I recorded my first, or when I was playing with them, I'd recorded my first Americana album. I was eager as heck to get something going, but I didn't know what to do. I didn't know anybody. I had no release strategy. I had no funding, and I was, mediocre at best, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I waited 2 months, and this is when email first happened, right? AOL,
Dial-up. Yep.
Right? And so I emailed Cliff Magnus. I said, "Hey, Cliff, it's Gary here. I just recorded an album, and I'd really love to get your opinion on it." And he said, "Dude, send it over, bro." So
Wow.
I, snail mailed it to Santa Monica, which took, all of probably 30 minutes. And I never heard from him.
Wow.
Never, right? So I let like a month go by, and I'm like, hey, Cliff, just wondering if you got my, album. Yeah, didn't hear anything. I waited another month, and I go, "Hey, Cliff, dude, what's up? I know you could help me if you wanted." That got a response. And if I could ever have a moment of comeback, it was that. Because he let me know. He's like, "Hey, man." And he wasn't very nice about it. He could have been nice.
Yeah.
He's like, "Hey, man, I don't owe you anything. He goes, I'm not saying it was bad. I'm just saying I don't know how to help you."
Wow.
And, of course, and I'm like, "Hey, man, apologies if I could ever take that back, But in that moment, I wish I could have nurtured that career, that relationship.
Yeah.
Because I probably could have learned a lot about songwriting and a lot about the craft of music had I just been a little more patient.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
But see, Gary, I think you learned something equally important though, and that is that you needed to probably be a little more patient, right? So yeah, maybe you fell short on your musical lessons, but I think your life lessons probably overshadowed that anyway. Like the
Yeah.
life lessons you learned in that time. You talked about the enormous lessons that you were learning while on tour with the Wilson sisters. I imagine those were probably very much life and business related too, rather than musical related, huh?
Yeah, getting doing the stage thing was great. I just all the the years of working hard, and those song moments go by faster than your heart beats.
Mm-hmm.
And then those moments go away. I'm telling you, Boston, it's this much of life. You know, um, uh, uh, yeah, I learned a lot about the professional side. You know, but the real trench lessons were the years I spent managing in Las Vegas. Or
Yeah. And I wanted to talk about Vegas because you ended up 7 years in Vegas playing casinos and residencies and things like that. And we've
I did.
had, obviously, this is a step that a lot of artists and musicians take in the business. I mean, if you guys are followers out there, then you could probably name the people we've talked to that have had this part of this season of their life. First of all, what was the motivation to head in that direction?
Well, at the time, I had, there was a time, this was a time in music in the '90s where uh, popular radio songs, it wasn't rocket science, man. We're talking about Matchbox 20,
Yeah.
and if you're of college age and you're in a band and you wanted to work on the weekends, you played those songs. It wasn't hard. So those that era was kind of coming to an end. Nightclub life was changing. College pubs were changing in the area, and I put together a band of super high caliber musicians, and we wanted to do private parties, weddings at the Ritz Carlton, things that paid good, so we could afford us our time off to work on our art projects. And so every member of the band was an artist, and and it was supported. There was an actor in the band. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And there were the other musicians were touring artists, for goodness sakes. They tour all over the world with famous jazz piano players.
Mm-hmm.
So we were incredible. And so the MGM Mirage Company was contacted by a booking agent, and we got an audition. They said, "Hey, listen, would you like to come to play in the desert maybe a few days a week?" Because none of us wanted it. Man, we lived in. Well, I surfed every week.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You don't want to go to Vegas.
I don't want to leave that.
Yeah.
I don't want to leave tacos and surfing.
Yeah.
My buddies. But we went and we auditioned, and they said, "Look, we're having you out here because we don't want a Vegas-y band anyway. We don't want to hear disco music. We want to hear kind of rock music, and we want the band to be kind of funny." And that's all we were, man. We were serious about it, but we were. If you'd ever seen me in a band, it's you have fun or you don't do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So we got the audition, and my gosh, Austin, we lived in the Mirage for 2 years.
Wow.
For 4 days, a week, I lived at the top of the Mirage. I'm like, is this my life? And then that fourth gig, after that gig, I drove through the desert for 3.5 hours and went back to Orange County, and I did laundry and I surfed for 2 days, and then I went back to Vegas for 2 years straight. On the third year, they said, "Hey, we're going to give you more money, but you got to move because we want our rooms back."
So it's funny. I love talking about Vegas because it's kind of a catch-22 for an artist. And I'll explain what I mean. And this is what kind of pops up a lot with Vegas residency type performances. You do so well at it, and you're successful, and it's lucrative, and it can financially change your life for the better. But as an artist, it's very difficult because you're essentially being somebody else. You're playing somebody else. You're acting like somebody else, whatever it is. And so if you're a creative type, if you're an artist, it's very difficult to break that pattern, so to speak, that circle, to get out of Vegas to become an artist again.
That's right.
Was that a problem for you eventually,
It was.
like trying to be a creative type again?
Oh, without question. It was always. Um, I mean, I had an agreement with every member of the band that would come and members came and went. That's it's not for everybody to do the same thing.
Right.
People just can't do it.
It's
And
very
I
rinse
can't.
and repeat, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. But so the one, like I say, every member of the band was a writer, and they were recording. I mean, they would bring their portable studios and
Yeah.
set it up in the hotel room. They had to do it. They were of the age where they had the energy. And so I was like, yeah, do it. And if you got to go, please just bring me a sub. I mean, there was a time that I had a relationship with those guys where they would bring me their own substitute player, and they would, um, but I have to tell you that I'm trying to do this in the fastest way possible.
Don't
'Cause I
rush,
could write
man.
a
Yeah, there's
book
no
about
rush at all. Just yeah.
Man, I I was in a very rare band that management loved our original music. And not only we played our original music, and we played much like I do around East Texas. I play the songs that inspire me to be the artist I am. I was allowed to do that in Vegas. That is unheard of.
Wow.
Man.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that is very unheard of.
So that Boston, that is the way. That's the reason it was able to work for me for years. And when I tell you it was an education that I could never have paid for, there isn't there. Belmont University doesn't offer this. The road of life is the education, and in playing, eventually when I moved to Vegas, it was 4 and 5 and 6 nights a week, every week, every week. It didn't. So people get, they get tired, they get emotional, and you have to learn how to be patient and care for them, because when you're in a band, man, it is cut close. It's not like you can just pick up the phone and call another musician that, yeah, they might fill in, but they're not your tribe.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Absolutely. If you're playing
Yeah.
6 nights a week together, man, those guys are like another appendage. They're another limb. Like
Yeah.
you know what they're gonna do, and they know what you're gonna do,
Yeah.
right? It's just that's the way it is. And
I'd
you
say
try
the
to bring
hardest part-
you try to bring in a prosthetic, it's not gonna work as well, you know.
You're so right. And there were so many nights that we had substitute players.
Sure.
And I mean, my gosh, we're playing. I mean, look, the Bellagio, we ended up at the Bellagio. The president of the Mirage moved to the Bellagio, which was a huge move in the MGM Mirage Corporation. Because at the time, the Bellagio, and it still is one of the most prestigious places, he loved us and brought us with him. Now, that lounge in the Bellagio, man, you've seen it in so many movies, you just don't even realize.
Yeah.
It was the Fontana Bar, and you walked in, and then you could walk out on the patio and see those fountains.
Yeah.
Right? It was gorgeous. It was gorgeous, but it was high profile. Everybody in the country wanted that gig. So, man, it was stress. It was pressure. I'd get phone calls.
Yeah.
Hey, we don't like what you wear. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, yeah.
Like, hey, this guy didn't show up on time. Make sure he shows up. I'm like, oh. My rule was to my guys, don't make me be band leader, please. Don't make me talk to you about showing up on time.
Yeah.
But anyhow, I got that, and it was great. I learned how to be an adult.
And an entertainer as well, I imagine. Like that's the biggest thing. I think Vegas and like the cruise ship industry, I think are the two biggest things that teach people how to be an entertainer in this business, right? And
You gotta have thick skin.
yeah,
You gotta have thick skin.
Yep.
And you learn to be quick. You know what I mean?
Yep.
You just learn to not take stuff personal.
Yep.
Which is great in life, because as musicians, we're emotional beings.
So how and why does Gary end up back in Texas?
Quite honestly, man, I mean, before I tell you the reason, I will tell you that I stood on that stage for years, and I looked out of the fountains, and I thank God for this opportunity. I mean, thank you for this. Thank you for this, letting me do this.
Yeah.
And then eventually that got to God, get me out of here. Really. I mean, as good as it It was probably one of the best paying gigs on the Strip. Paid better than, you know, than the Gladys Knight would pay her guys
Yeah.
across the street. One of her keyboard players came to play with me for a while. But the housing bubble burst, Boston, in '06.
Okay.
The Fannie Mae Freddie Mac
Yeah.
issue, and people owned 3 and 4 homes. It was, you could do it. But the city shut down in an instant. Construction stopped, and it was in 2007, mid 2007, maybe mid to late. I got a phone call. I'd come home to Golden for my 2-week vacation that I did every Christmas to see my parents and my family. And I got a phone call from the director, and he said, "Hey Gary, remember that 2-week clause at the bottom of your contract?" And I went, "Yeah." He goes, "Consider it active now." So people lost their jobs. But really, man, I think it was because, we lost our jobs, but man, I needed to go.
I was going to say it was probably an outside influence that pushed you out of it, but it was probably welcomed as well.
Yeah. Which, man, it was quite a change. At the time, I was tired, Boston. I was really, I'm
6
talking
nights
about
a week, yeah.
I was on the borderline of sick. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I had exhausted my adrenals, doing that. And it wasn't, man, I wasn't staying out, partying. That wasn't me. I left it all on the stage. I left all my energy there,
Yeah.
But it was just so much of it. So I came home in early 08, early 2008.
I want to tell people out there, if you can imagine what Vegas is like, or if you have been to Vegas, I want you to try to think of what could possibly be the complete opposite of that, and that's where we live. It's true, isn't it?
I didn't, after I came home, I'd built a house out here behind my parents' house a long time, 20 some odd years ago. Never thought I'd be living in it. I thought it was going to, it was just a place I'd just come every few months.
Yeah.
But I moved home. I sold all of my music equipment. I was tired.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, okay, I'm going to come home and I'm going to work on songwriting. Okay. What I didn't tell you is what you might have read, I met one of my dearest friends and co-writers, Ken Orsow, while I lived in Las Vegas. And it was in the last year or so that I lived out there. He said, "Hey, I hear some really great things in your writing, but there's a lot of holes in your writing." And he was right. They were like kind of unfinished. There were song segments that just didn't flow as good.
Yeah.
And it took me a while to get co-writing, but it's one of the best things that ever happened in my life. Writing is, man, what an art.
I imagine co-writing was probably extremely difficult for you for a couple of reasons, right? Number one, you've always written alone, and then you're essentially you're the front man of a band, so that's basically your responsibility as well. So everything musically up until that point was always 100% you. And you can build an ego very easily, even subconsciously, from that, even if you don't know you're doing it. And then you come along and somebody's co-writing with you. It's very difficult to shut that ego off at that point.
Me, you got it. It's once you realize that the importance of being objective, and once you leave the ego alone, and you're only concerned with the greatness of a song, the co-writing thing really works.
Yeah, you got to let the song have the ego, and the song's the only thing that can have the ego. Like everybody else just has to shut up and let the song lead the way. That's just.
I'm gonna steal that. That's really good.
Okay.
The song gets the ego.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, so I stopped you from talking about Tom Russell earlier. I'm also going to stop you from talking about Ken Orsow right now, and that's because I have a segment called Three Names. And so this is a word association game or segment that I'm going to play with Gary. I'm going to give you 3 names, and I just want you to tell me what you think of when you hear the name. Okay? No time limit.
I'm not good at this, but go ahead.
You're going to be great at this, I promise you. So first name is Tom Russell.
What do I think? What do I associate?
Yeah, just
Oh my God.
yeah.
My heart of hearts. He's the originator of he's probably the first true mentor on guitar for me.
Okay, second name is Ken Orsow.
He's one of my best friends, and the reason why I love writing so much now, because Ken taught me the art of co-writing.
All right, so you guys can probably see what I'm doing here, and Gary should probably figure this out. We're talking musicianship is Tom Russell, writing is Ken Orsow. Now we're going to get into production. The third name is Chad Mauldin.
God, I love that guy. Chad's like he's a brother from another mother to me, and Chad has developed his own way through producing. He has put the time, the hours, the years in. And not only is he a producer, not only is he an engineer, but he's a producer. He's a musician. He plays multiple instruments. He knows music, many genres, and he is. I guess I trust him when we record. I fully trust him, like I trust Tom Russell and Ken Orsow with my music.
Mm-hmm.
You know, does that make sense?
Absolutely.
I get kind of emotional when you mention these people, because they're iconic people in my life. I don't know where would I be without these people?
Yeah,
you know?
that's the point of that segment, the 3 names. I'd love to give people flowers, and every single person has people in their lives that mentored or shaped their career or path or life in some way, and those people deserve credit for that, I feel. And
man.
So that's why
Yeah.
I like that little segment there. And then later on, I'm going to throw it around and put it on you to answer kind of a different question reversed on that. You'll see in a minute.
Okay.
But I did it in that order because I do want to talk about Chad Mauldin. Chad is a mutual friend of ours, and
Yes.
I've known Chad a really, really long time. And probably the best, well, I'll say one of the best, because Rosewood is there too, but one of the best producers here in the 903 for sure. And if you're wondering out there, if you happen to be watching or listening from the 903, Mauldin Productions, right there in Gladewater, Texas, like literally in our backyards. Like you guys can go out there and create with Chad, and you won't be disappointed with that. Like Gary has done, he got 4 albums now with Chad.
4 plus. Yeah.
Yeah, 4 plus. Yeah, because you've got singles that are waterfalling out there now too. So, how is that relationship with Chad? You talked a little bit about him from a life standpoint, but how has that musical relationship with him changed Gary Patrick's sound?
If anything, he has helped me to not chase any genre of music. He wants me to be myself.
Yeah.
And it's his goal to find what is special in what I do and accentuate it. That's the one thing I love about Chad. You know, when I met Chad, it was 2016, maybe 20. Gosh, I was playing a gig at the Back Porch.
About the same time I met him, yeah.
Yeah, he lives in Kilgore.
Yep.
Where the Back Porch used to have a lot of music there. It used to. And Chad gave me his card, and he said, "Hey, Gary, you're playing a cover gig. Do you play original music?" And I go, yeah. I go, in fact, I've been writing and getting ready to record, but I didn't know where to go. And so it just serendipitously, it happened. I sidestepped to say, this world is about relationships, people. It is about people. All else is nothing. It's about what we do with each other. So from that moment, I met Chad. I went to his studio and I played him. I had gone to Nashville for a couple of years to really just work on songwriting, and I wanted to record some songwriter demos. And so I took those demos back to Chad's, and he said, "Well, there's this red dirt scene in Texas that's happening right now, right? The red dirt scene." And I'm like, "What's red dirt?" I'm right in the middle of it. I'm so like, what is it? And so he goes, well, it's this. I'm sorry, I talk with my hands a lot.
You're good.
Um, I said, Chad, I feel like I'm a little old for the red. Like I'm me, man. And he goes, well, we decided to make a country-ish sounding album, and it's called No Standing Waves. It's Americana, but it's got country flair to it. If that makes sense. And I'm telling you, there are so many good songs on that album. I had zero release strategy, zero release plan, and the pandemic happened. Boom! Right when I released it.
Wow. See, it's
And
funny, Gary. I remember you had a song or songs. It might have been multiple. I think it was multiple. I remember you having song or songs on the Texas charts, like the country, like
you
Red
remember
Dirt.
that?
Yeah, of course, man.
Yeah.
I follow those charts, and I was like, I was so happy for you, but at the same time, I was like, man, this doesn't really fit. Like, you're not Red Dirt. You're not what I would traditionally call country either. You're kind of all over the place. And so I got really hopeful that maybe Gary Patrick was changing the charts here in Texas.
Oh, I
And
got
I don't know if it was you or what, but after that, I've seen a lot of artists on those charts now that are very much not able to be put into a box musically. And you were one of the first that I remember being not totally Red Dirt or country or whatever that looks like. So perhaps that helped change things a little bit. Maybe you and Chad helped change things a little bit.
I just had to be authentic, brother. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
I think that's important. I think it's really important.
Yeah. Like, why do, you know, because you realize that you chase something, you put 100% of your financial ability into something just to have it change right when you're finished with it. And then they go, oh, we don't really
I think what you just said is such a cool lesson to learn, and I think perhaps you learned it because of your background in entertainment, being that residency person for 6 days a week for 7 years. You knew that you had to be authentic with that crowd, or they were just going to chew you up and spit you out. And
Oh, yeah.
maybe that's something you learned from that. You know what? I can't fake it till I make it. I've tried that; it didn't work. People know, and
Oh,
you
yeah.
know,
They smell it, man.
oh,
You just
sure
gotta
they
be
do.
you.
Yeah.
You gotta be you. You know, and there are so many things. If anybody was ever interested, and I hope you're watching. I hope there's some young artists out there watching. Like, man, you just be the best that you are right now, and it's okay. Be okay with it, because I wasn't okay. I thought that I always had to develop something more. I thought that I'm not ready. Um, I gig a lot, so my voice gets tired because I'm singing harder songs. Like, it's all, my brother good to sing like Brad Delp. So,
Mhm.
so I'm always tired vocally because I'm singing all these crazy songs. What I'm saying, if you want to be an artist, be an artist and be the best that you are right now, and let it be enough. But you're always striving for it to be better. But document who you are, record who you are, get with people that can help you, and they will not lie to you. Find your tribe, find your Chad Mauldin,
Yep.
find your, you know what I mean? Find your Ken Orsow.
People that are going to pull on the same side of the rope as you.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. Does that make sense? Man?
Absolutely. Man, someone once made me write my name down on a piece of paper. And I was like, okay, I wrote my name down on the piece of paper. And he said, whose name is on that piece of paper? I said, that's my name. He said, you are the only person who can do that name as good as you. So don't try to be this person. Don't try to be that person, because that person's not going to try to be the name on this piece of paper.
Yeah, man.
So
Yeah.
what you're talking about is Gary Patrick is going to be the one that can do Gary Patrick the best. And Brad Delk ain't going to be able to do Gary Patrick like Gary Patrick. And Gary Patrick's not going to be able to do Brad Delk like Brad Delk. And
Right.
so, like, that's a lesson I learned from somebody, and never try to be anybody else ever since then. I'm quintessentially Boston Chris, and that's the way it is.
Yes, you
Like
are.
it or hate it, right?
I got to tell you, man, meeting Brad Delp was a pretty high point.
Oh
for
man,
me.
I bet you that was a badass moment.
Can I tell you a story real quick?
Sure, yeah, please do.
Because I just totally halted because I know you got a plan, and I'm sorry we're talking about this.
It's all good.
When I first started playing in a bar band, I think this band was called Clockwork. It was classic rock and blues, and you didn't miss a gig. I mean, that was taboo. Don't do that. Well, Boston was coming through, and I informed the guys, hey, I'm taking off. I don't care if this band breaks up, but my roommate got me backstage passes, and I'm going to go see this. This is my favorite singer,
Yeah.
What I love about Brad Delp is there's an essence about him. He was so kind, but there was an excellence in his craft. I loved that. I loved that when he sang, he just didn't sing high notes. They were beautiful. It was as if a Beatle was singing those songs, So during the concert, I'm 15 rows back in center, and something just tells me, okay, go now. I hopped over 15 rows of people, and I stuck my
That's awesome.
I'm not lying. He came to the center of the stage, and I stuck my hand up, and he grabbed a hold of my hand, and he was singing, and I wouldn't let it go. I wouldn't let his hand go. And I was singing right back to him, and he's like, "Hey man, you can let go now." And I'm like,
That's amazing.
so
Oh, geez.
I let go, and then an hour later, he saw me backstage, and he ran to me. He goes, "You," he goes, "I love you," and he gave me a hug. And that guy sat and talked to me for 20 minutes.
That's
about
amazing.
life.
Good stuff.
Yeah, just about life.
Yeah.
And about
They
just
will
being
do that,
true.
man. Like you said earlier, they're human. They're people just like us. And I'll tell you what, guys, for you folks out there that might have a hard time keeping your excitement to yourself when you meet somebody famous or you meet your hero, you're doing yourself a disservice if you can't, swallow that down. Be excited after.
Yeah.
And treat them like people during, and you will be surprised the respect and reaction you will get in return, man. It's such a cool thing.
Exactly.
Like I was telling Gary, who I got to interview earlier, right? And I won't say it on this episode because it's not about him, but I got excited after. He's just a person during, you know what I mean? And like we said about audiences earlier, they can smell that in the water, right? When you're overly excited. But I love that for you, man. Brad Delp is a incredible singer-songwriter that doesn't get a lot of love, or as much love as he should. And just what a horrible ending to him and all. But yeah,
Sure.
Incredible dude. So we got Gary Patrick here on the show, and man, I'm so excited this worked out. I got to tell you guys out there, Gary and I have met many times over the years, but we really chatted in depth for the first time at a recent show in Quitman, Texas, and that's
right.
this interview is born of that. And I hope him and I will be really really good friends going forward. Because by God, I could cast a freaking fishing rod to his place from where I am.
Man, you could fire a gun and it would land on my house.
Probably could.
We are just. I'm like, hey, can you see me?
Yeah.
I'm waving at you.
All right, so we're going to do some off the rails with Gary Patrick. This used to be called Having Fun out there for you guys that love this segment, but I've changed it to off the rails because it's not always fun. Some of this stuff can get pretty deep. So it's now called Off the Rails, so we are going off the rails with Gary Patrick. These are just short segments, and some of these you're going to get to pick, Gary. So first segment, I want you to choose either Did You Know or choose Algorithm. Those are the titles of the two segments.
Did you know or algorithm? I know nothing about algorithm.
You want to try Algorithm?
I don't know anything about it. I'll let you choose.
Okay, well, we'll do Algorithm. So are you more into YouTube or TikTok?
Probably YouTube.
All right, so what's on your algorithm on YouTube?
C10 truck parts.
He knew immediately what algorithm was as soon as I asked the question. See?
I build old vintage trucks, so yeah. Okay.
That's awesome.
I'm good at this.
So I deliver food in my off time for DoorDash, and my algorithm is DoorDash tips.
Okay. Right on.
So there you go. That's what mine is right now. All right,
My
next
nephew
one.
does that. My nephew does that and loves it.
It is amazing, Gary.
Yeah, he loves the people.
Like, I just love doing it. It's honestly, it's like a side quest in a video game. Seriously, like it's just amazing. It's just every time you drop off the food, you just feel so accomplished. Maybe I'm silly, but it's an amazing thing.
I love it, man.
All right, next segment's called Impactful. Now, we talked about 3 names earlier that I picked. Now, Gary gets to pick 3 people that impacted his life in some way. But also, tell us the number one thing you learned from each of these people.
Oh, like now?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay. My father. He always said, "Son, just be the captain of your own ship." You know, and that has resonated with me. My mother, she always says, "Always have a song in your heart." That is her quote, and so those resonate with me wherever I go all day long. You know what I mean? So is there? You said a third person?
Third person, yep.
Oh my gosh, dude. Well, I'm telling you, my wife will not allow me to be anything other than myself. You know, she demands that I be authentic.
That's so freaking important in a wife, in a woman. I met your wife recently for the first time, and she just seems so much the biggest fan of Gary Patrick, right?
She is.
Yeah, and that's important. It's so important. All right, next one. Who is one artist you wish the whole world knew about other than yourself?
Ah. You're asking a musician about an artist he loves? Which one? Which side of the bed did I wake up on today?
That's the point. Yep.
I wish everyone knew Zane Williams.
Golly, yes. I would not have expected that answer from you, but I frickin' love it. Zane Williams is probably, golly, he's such an underrated songwriter. Just
Isn't it?
the king of the prompt songwriting technique, in my opinion.
Yeah,
Like, you give
yeah.
him a word and he'll give you a Grammy. Like,
Jayden and Jill.
yeah, yep.
Is there? He's besides Josh Weathers. I think that he might be one of my favorite Texas artists.
Yeah, Josh
I
is
think those
amazing
two.
too. Yeah,
Yeah.
yep.
You're right.
Good stuff, man. I love it. Good stuff. All right, next segment's called What the Heck. You are going to love this, Gary. So this is the way this works. I have 50 questions here. I'm not asking them all, so don't worry. We're not doing 50 questions. So what I do before the interview starts is I randomly choose 5 numbers from a hat, and then there's a question that corresponds to each number. All right?
Okay.
So What the Heck is a game show style segment where you have to tell me the first thing that comes to mind when I ask the question. All right? Here we go. Number 1. How long do you wait after finishing your food before going back for seconds?
30 seconds.
30 seconds, like you're done and you're back in line.
I'm back.
Golly, that's what's up.
I'm
Well,
sorry.
he's got 3 siblings. Of course that's the way it goes. there's a finite amount of food, and yeah, I understand. All right, number 2. Where do you think squirrels go during hurricanes?
Squirrels?
Yeah.
I don't.
It's horrible, isn't it?
That's a horrible thought. God, we're like in hurt. Like after they. Now I'm sad because
See, he is truly an empath. Okay.
because I didn't know where they go. You don't understand, man. If I catch a gopher in the trap and it doesn't kill it, I have to re-let it go.
I understand.
Okay. I think squirrels go in the tree.
Okay. Nobody said they were smart. Let's try to remember that. All right, number 3. What world record does Gary Patrick have a shot at breaking?
The world record of I can't believe I'm going to do this, man. I cannot believe I'm going to do this because when I go to sing, when I go to prep to sing, I go nay 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 nay. I will hold the world record of nay nays. I just
Watch him nay nay. Watch him whip and watch him nay nay. All right, number 4. What what are you most afraid of?
Oh man. Losing my loved ones.
I understand. All right, last one, number 5. All right. Oh Lord.
That wasn't a fun one, man. That was.
That's why it's called Off the Rails now instead of having fun, Gary. I had to change it. See.
That's okay, man. I can handle this.
All right, so you've been married a long time, so this might be a hard one for you to answer, but I'm going to ask it anyway because it's the number that came up. So when dating someone new, what do you think is the appropriate amount of time that you should take before pooping in front of that person?
That just never. This just doesn't happen.
Never?
No, just never. I can't. I mean, I guess it could. I respect my wife so much that I don't even. I'm sure I do it when I'm asleep, but I won't. I won't pass gas in front of my wife. I respect her so much, and because I know some other guys are just like romp, like.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I still haven't pooped in front of my wife, but I do have to say that whenever I go in the bathroom, my cat Leo he meows at the door until my wife lets him in. So maybe that's as close as she gets to
It's Leo's fault. He's throwing the cat under the bus. All right.
It's Leo's fault.
All right, next one. Choose either bucket list or choose fly on the wall.
I love these topics, man. Can we
Thank
do
you.
both? No, okay. A bucket list or fly on the wall? I'll let you choose.
All right, so in all of history, which room would you have liked to have been a fly on the wall in?
Really? Oh, okay. I would like to have been a fly on the wall when Jackie Gleason said it described that he made a negotiation. The only way he would star in Smoking the Bandit is if he did his own lines. I would have loved to sing that conversation because I love that man so much as an entertainer. I think he's a master.
Incredible answer. Just to see the negotiations or lack thereof, because it's Jackie Gleason. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, yes, sir. Okay, whatever you want, sir. Yes, sir. So, little known fact: the latest Dukes of Hazzard movie that Willie Nelson played Uncle Jesse.
Yeah.
He negotiated that same thing in.
Wow.
Yeah.
That makes sense to me
Yep.
because he's a one and done artist.
Yep.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Like he goes into a recording session.
Yeah.
And they go, "Hey, let's get a level take," and he goes, "No, son, you understand that was the take."
Yeah, so the blonde divorce joke he just came up with when he's throwing the Molotovs out and he's coming up with jokes along the way. Yeah. What do a blonde and a what is it? What do a blonde and a tornado have in common? At first there's a lot of sucking and blowing and then somebody loses the house.
I love that.
Guys, if you ever have the opportunity, don't watch the whole movie. Just go to the part where they're throwing Molotovs out the back of the Cadillac and Willie is just coming up with joke after joke after joke before throwing a Molotov. You cannot be in a bad mood after watching that scene. Just trust me. And they're all off the cuff, just incredible stuff. That's why we call this Off the Rails. All right, next one is choose either biggest lesson or choose moment of gravity. Those are the two segments.
Moment of gravity. That sounds pretty good.
Okay, so moment of gravity is kind of a reflective question where we can kind of look back in our lives and see that moment or event that led us on the path to where we ended up now. Can you see what that one moment was for you?
Yeah, when I married my wife.
Oh, what a great answer.
Yeah, just without unequivocal. Yeah.
Just finding that biggest fan.
And that woman gets up. That woman gets up at 5 every morning to pray for me. You know.
Yeah. Oh, man. Great stuff. All right, next
Yeah.
segment's called Grateful. What are the 3 things you're the most grateful for?
Oh my gosh, I'm going to go back to my wife, my family, God. We live in this country that we can do anything that we want. We can dream up. You and I can have this right here. There are places on this planet that that this is impossible. So, yeah.
Yeah, good stuff. All right, last
I'm
segment.
grateful for you, bro. I'm grateful for this.
Same. Thank you, man. Last segment. This is called "Who Do You Think You Are?" So, who is
Anyway?
Gary Patrick?
Who do you think you are, anyway?
Who is Gary Patrick?
Oh man, I'm a child of God, and I just in my heart of hearts, I want people to be happy. You know.
Yeah. So you said it earlier. The fastest I've ever written out the title of an episode was within 30 seconds of this episode. Gary came out with "Leading with His Heart." So that's what we're going to call this episode. Gary Patrick, leading with his heart. Couldn't have said it any better than that, and you came up with that within a minute of us starting today.
I love it.
Yeah, so good stuff. Gary Patrick is here for the first time. The website is garypatrick.love, Love. So y'all
Sure.
go check it out. The social medias are, well, a very important one. YouTube. Go to YouTube. It's at Gary Patrick 2881 on YouTube. The Instagram is at Gary Patrick Music. Facebook is at Gary Patrick Music. So check him out on your favorite platforms. Gary tours all the time, especially here in our backyard of East Texas. You guys are going to need to go check out a show. Go to the website. He does. Do you have merch on your website? I'm not sure that you do.
It's not on the website, but
Okay.
I do have merch. If
So-
you email me, I'll send you something.
Okay, so there you go. Email him, and he'll send you something. And the new single is Closed for Repair. You guys make sure you're calling in, request that everywhere, and stream the hell out of it, right?
Please do. And GaryPatrick.love is not a dating website.
It's not. No, he's very happily married. But he still wants you guys to love him, and that's why he did that. It's because you lead with your heart, Gary. See?
That's right.
It's all circular in nature. Gary, thank you for doing this, man.
Man, I love you. This was a blast. Thank you for having me on your podcast. This is amazing. And you know what we're going to do next week? We're going to have lunch on me.
Okay, sounds good.
I'm Brandon Howard from the band Howard County. I'm on the Boston Chris Show.